This is why this offseason for the Toronto Blue Jays is going to be exciting. Everybody, and welcome to Blue Jays Today, where we always have something to say about the Blue Jays. I'm your host, Adam Peddle.
And I'm your host, Nicholas Playlog. And today, guys, we're going to be talking about this stuff. We're going to be talking about the green. We're going to be talking about the moolah, the money, everybody.
Yes.
That's right. All of the monies that we think the Toronto Blue Jays have available to them. We're going to be breaking all that down right now. Before we do, though, please make sure to hit the like and subscribe button. We would truly freaking appreciate it. All right, big dog. So this is very complicated, guys. There's a lot of numbers at play, and I don't wanna rush into this video without freaking organizing it a little bit.
Okay.
Organizing it.
Well, why don't we start about what we spent last year? Take a picture like that.
I think that would be an exceptional way to transition, buddy. So how much money did we spend in 2021?
So, guys, there's obviously you got the payroll salary of the players, but then you have all this other shit like taxes and minor leaguers and benefits and blah, 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 blah.
Fucking ridiculous
all
stuff.
This other stuff, like, oh my God, whatever.
Like, I don't care.
I don't care. Just
give me Max. Give me Max Scherzer.
But guys, hey, we spent $164 million last year, and just to give you guys an idea, the luxury tax is at $210. So once you go over $210 million, right, or $210 million, you're gonna start to pay a luxury tax. So usually teams don't want to do that, especially the Toronto Blue Jays that rarely ever gets that place. The only people that go over there are like the LA Dodgers or the New York Yankees. So give you an idea, we still had a lot of money left. We had a lot of money to play with, right? Now, coming into this year, Nick, how much money do we have now that we have some guys like Simeon off the books and Ray off the books?
Let me, and that's not just all guys. Simeon, Ray, Matz, Dickerson, Kirby Yates, Tanner Rourke, Tulowitzki.
Yeah, he's finally gone.
Tulowitzki, right? Yamaguchi.
Yes.
Chatwood, like there is guys right now that we haven't even thought about in days, months. It feels like decades since freaking we were talking about Tamagotchi, bro.
Yeah, for real. Like, that was an L.
But we were still paying him money this season, and next year we aren't going to be. So Sport Rack, it's an excellent site. I highly recommend you guys go check it out. They were looking at our players, and they were looking at the arbitrations, and they were giving some averages, some estimates. And we don't know this to be fact, but you got to imagine it'll probably average out somewhere around that. So for Teoscar Hernandez coming into arbitration 2, they estimated that he would make roughly $10 million, and that would be on the books for next year. So great site, highly recommend.
Yeah.
All in all, though, with all those arbitrations being considered, with the fact that Bo Bichette, Kirk, Espinal, Manoah, all these guys still on their like little rookie deal things where they're not even at arbitration yet, Sport Rack thinks that we are going to be spending $131 million for the baseball team.
Yeah,
that's less.
Really cheap. That is less. To put it in perspective, guys, with $131 million, you basically, hypothetically, you could get a like $80 million more, hypothetically, right? But you're also got to consider, right? There are some re-signings to be done, right? You know, all the arbitrations. Maybe they get a little bit more. Maybe there's some guys that come in and everything. However, we have about, what is it, 33.5 million. Nick looked at this and, just subtracted the two numbers.
This is an interesting stat, guys, because, it's literally simple subtraction here. We spent 164.5 this year. We're going to be spending, as of right now, estimated 131. So we're always having this question. People are like, well, what do we think? Can we go out and get Max Scherzer? Can we go out and get Corey Seager? And we're like, well, we could, but we don't know if the management's willing to do that. Well, I can tell you 100%, 7 days a week, every day for the rest of the fucking time that Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is like MVP caliber, that they will be willing to at least match what we did this past year, which means that there's $33.5 million right there that's going towards nothing right now.
Literally nothing. And guys, I think it's smart that, like, yeah, you have to at least match, because you were a winning ball club last year, but now you have higher expectations. You're back in Toronto. If you can pitch, if I'm Mark Shapiro and you could pitch to Rogers Communication, like, hey, look at all this revenue that's going to be coming in. If we just spend a little bit more than what we did last year, I guarantee we're going to be getting in a lot of new fans.
Yes.
And I guarantee it's going to happen. Guys, we have a cap, and this is about a smart, rough approximate, because you still got to consider all the taxes and all the benefits that might be around there. The limit for the Toronto Blue Jays could be somewhere in 60 to 70 million range. Now, I'm not saying that they're going to spend 60 to 70, but if they wanted to, they could. However, you do have to consider about one more year right after 2022. Now you start talking about Vlad and Bo Bichette and all the young guys that are now going to start kicking into the arbitration years. It's going to be cheap, right? If they decide not to sign them right away, it's going to be cheap, but it's going to be getting more and more expensive through the arbitration years.
That's
right?
the thing. And you know what? This money that we have, assuredly $33.5 million, maybe upwards there to 50, 60, 70, like Adam's talking about. That money doesn't need to all go towards free agents. Right now, SportRack assumes that Vladdy's going to be making $8 million in his first year of arbitration. His arbitration years are going to be fucking expensive if he keeps performing the way that he's performing. So potentially you look at that and the management's thinking, hey, okay, you know what? Vladdy's $8 million right now. We could bump that up to, like, I don't know, $25 million a year or something, and just get him, lock him down long term while we have the money, and then, like, have that extension there. So that money could go towards extensions for Vlad, Bo, Biggio, all these guys. It could also go towards extensions for, like, a Burrios. We have that ability. Or it could go towards a re-signing of a Robbie Ray, of a Marcus Semien, or maybe bringing in another guy too. There's a lot of options.
Exactly right. And like that estimated value of Vlad being $8 million, like if he were to actually get $8 million next year, like I don't know if I want to sign this guy for $25 million next year. Like, yeah, you'd lock him down, but you still have him. You still have him for a few more years. So maybe if you communicate it effectively, obviously, because you obviously want to tell Vladdy, we love you, dude. You want to stay with our team. But if you want to communicate that, hey, but we can get someone really special, or maybe a few guys that are really special to help out the team this next coming year, and maybe even 2023, excuse me, because you have that ability, right? That flexibility. So there's many different options they can go to. And this is something we consider when we're going to make a podcast later about if we're going to sign Vladimir Guerrero Jr. long term.
I think the magic number that I'm going to be looking at here, because $33.5 million, in my opinion, should be the floor.
Yes.
Like that should be the floor. We need to at least match what we did last year. We won 91 fucking ball games, for God's sakes, right?
Yeah.
Like we should at least match that. I think the magic number that I'm going to be working with this offseason when we're talking about guys is going to be about $50 million. I think the Toronto Blue Jays effectively have and would be willing to spend $50 million this offseason. On what? We don't know.
Yeah.
They have the ability to do a bunch of different shit, but having $50 million means we have a lot of flexibility.
Yeah, we do. Like we always speculate early in the season, can we sign Barrios and get Robbie Ray? Like you could. Can you sign Marcus Semien and then maybe sign like 3 really good bullpen guys? You could. You could do whatever you want. This is why this offseason for the Toronto Blue Jays is going to be exciting, because there's so many avenues. And this is what I learned from last year, that there is no right answer. There is no right answer in the offseason. Like I thought we had to get, and we did go get, a big guy like George Springer. And I think that was smart for the whole, management, the whole team, to bring in like an impact guy of that caliber. But now maybe you have so much flexibility now, and I'm so excited, man.
Well, I learned last offseason that I trust our management. That doesn't mean that I'm not going to be sitting here in my box of an apartment fucking screaming at them and telling them what they did wrong and what they did right and giving my opinion, because I trust I trust myself more than them, obviously.
Okay, so let's round this one off then. Like where would you spend the money in this offseason if you had $50 million? Because we didn't even think about this, is totally like on the spot. But where would you spend that money? Just off the top of the head.
You know what? I would look into the extensions for sure, because I know what you're saying. $8 million, like that's still a great deal for Vlad, but I do start to get concerned about the whole, like, you know, if we don't do it now, then he's only 2 years away from free agency, and he's like, oh, free agency, you know. So I do start to think about that. I would at least engage in the conversation. I agree. I would definitely engage in the conversation in Robbie Ray. We got to talk about the whole deals there. But I would also, and you brought this up pre-podcast, I would really start looking at some of the big, right now, help us win, Max Scherzer-esque types. Because, like you said, man, 2024, 2025, that's when we really got to shell out the money for the young kids. But right now, maybe we could shell out the money for the old vets.
Yeah, I like that. Like, get in an old vet. If it's a Max Scherzer, I don't know. Maybe it's old vet in some way. Like an old vet, 1 to 2 years, pay them. And then I would look at maybe someone like Barrios. You know, someone like that for me is like probably the more urgent guy, just based on his age, his contract, everything like that. And then you maybe have like, I don't know if you have room to get back a Ray or a Semien, to be honest, but I would definitely diversify for depth. Maybe look at a Barrios extension for 23 and then like an old vet for like 1 or 2 years.
And just to point it out too, guys, we'll be talking more about Barrios this offseason, but right now Sport Rack projects him, and because this will be his last year of arbitration, they think he's going to make $10.9 million this year. So that's already on their projected books, right? So if we did bump it up to like 20, that's only an additional $9 million for us. So it actually doesn't take away too much if you do that extension for this year.
You could. Guys, let us know in the comments down below, what do you think about the Blue Jays payroll? What avenue would you go down if you were Mark Shapiro or Ross Adkins? Let us know in those comments.
Absolutely. You know what's also really fucky? I just took in the fact that we're talking about like $9 million, like it's pocket
nothing.
change.
Oh,
like, I'm just like, just an additional $9 million. Like, I'm never gonna make $9 million my whole life.
No.
I would be like a very well-off, lucky person if I could make $9 million my whole life, and I'm just like, whatever.
Dude, my mom last offseason when she watched the videos was always like, oh my God, like you guys are talking about this like it's nothing. I'm like, yeah, well, that's the job.
Yeah, like Bo Bichette, dirt cheap, gonna make like $600,000 next year.
Oh, so easy. Like that's
dirt
nothing.
cheap.
That's
like
nothing.
That's like, wait, I could, the ridiculousness.
I wet my ass with that.
Literally. Bro, so do the Toronto Blue Jays, and so does Rogers Center. But guys, you can also check us out on Spotify, Breaker, Anchor, Radio Public, and Google Podcasts. Also, please make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Today, Jays is our code for Monkey Knife Fight and for Manscaped. Those are both of our sponsors. It helps us out immensely if you hop on and use those codes, and it will help you out as well because you'll get some sweet deals and discounts. What also helps us out is Patreon, and for $3 a month, you can become a Patreon member. Call into this show just like all of these other beautiful people have done in the past. It is great time. We love having you. We're drinking. It's super fun. It's Friday nights, and we love talking with you guys. So please help us out there.
Guys, thank you so much for watching. And go Jays, go!